Hey, Walker owners, I wanted to make a quick video for you all. I'm contemplating making a YouTube channel. Haven't done that yet, but if you like what you see here and you see that I got a channel, subscribe. I'm going to be starting to utilize some of the information I've learned over the last 18 years and trying to pass it along to you all. Some of you don't need this info, and I understand that, but here's the story. I owned a lawn care company for 18 years. Grew it up from how a lot of you guys start. I was in high school, 15 years old. Had 10, 15 yards one summer, grew it up to 30, 40, 50, ended up with 1 employee, 2 employees, 3, 4, got all the way up to 15 employees. We were running 3 crews, 250 yards a week, just shy of $500,000 a year in revenue. So not a giant company, mostly residential, but at the end of the day, I guess what I realized is there was a lot of skills that I learned over that time. A lot of time I spent teaching my workers that I thought would be really helpful if everybody saw. Maybe you're going to utilize this to know how to operate your walker a little better, or maybe you're going to utilize this to see if this is the right mower for you. If Walker, I hope you see that it's the best possible mower for you all. So I'm going to show you how to take a deck off, and I'm going to put it back on. Then I'm going to walk through those steps again slower, just explaining what I just did. So I'm going to put a timer to it. I'm going to not be rushing. There's no reason ever to rush on this stuff, but I do want you all to see how quick this can happen. So hopefully you can see this. I'm going to start my time. If I know how to operate that, I'm going to start my time. I'm not going to do a lot of talking through this process, so you can just watch, and then I will break it back down at the end so you can see what I did and why. Deck is off. I'm still videoing, but my 7-year-old see me do this so many times. I'm tempted to have him or my 5-year-old show you how to do it. So deck on and off in 1 minute and 26 seconds. Sorry. I'm gonna guess by what I'm seeing there that all you saw was a hairy arm at the beginning. So a couple of things that I wanted to walk through. Okay, a couple of things that I wanted to walk through with that is this entire deck was on. Okay, had to get a dog out of the shot there. But a couple of things that I did there, 1 minute and 26 seconds to take a deck off and to put it back on. Now I've probably done this 1,000 times, maybe not 1,000, but 500 at least. No, probably 1,000. I probably showed it a couple hundred. So I don't want you to think that you're going to do it that fast at the beginning. And truthfully, when you're a small owner-operator, you're probably not taking your deck off a whole lot. A couple of things I would suggest, though, I do suggest taking the deck off on and off a few times throughout the season, making sure that your points are greased, making sure you've got your grease zerks in there, and then really the choke point a lot of times is that PTO shaft. So I'm going to walk through this for you all again, just a little bit slower, explaining why I do what I do. So a couple of things first is right here and right here there are 2 pins that just hold your deck on. Now a couple of times I've seen a lot of mowers that have a lot of play where those pins are bent, so you might have to use some pliers to pull those out if you're on a used machine. I like to pull those out. Now this is where my steps deviate from how a lot of guys do it, and I'm not saying if you don't do it this way that you're wrong. You may like to do it that way, but I'm going to try to explain why I really like to do it this way, and this is how I've taught my guys to take the deck off. A few things though that are making this really easy is I'm on a level surface, I'm on flat concrete. Don't try to take your deck off in the middle of a yard. If something's clogged, if something's not operating right, if you hear something that sounds funny, pull it off onto the sidewalk, pull it off onto your level trailer, take it off there. It's gonna take off a whole lot easier. I like to take these arm pins. I'm sure that there's a walker uses a term that's probably not an arm pin. They got a little red handle. You push them up and they pull out. What that does is that releases the floating deck from the walker support arms. I like to have those off of there. Now I know that this seems a little counterproductive, and this does make one of the steps that we're going to take a little bit more difficult, but in the end it's a whole lot easier and it reduces slamming on the deck itself. Once I do that, once I've removed those arms, not removed them, but unpinned them, then I just lift up the walker frame. This is a clamshell. Sometimes there's a lever right here, sometimes it's here. You're noticing I'm doing all of this with the mower off, which is pretty important. With that done, then you can pull that spring off. You can set the machine back down, the seat back down. Then I like to pull this out. I don't like to pull it out all the way because I don't like my PTO to come apart. So I'll just reach back in there and I unhook the PTO, and I like to set it on the chute. What you'll notice if you don't do that and you're standing right here, this chute is spring loaded. And if you don't set your PTO on the chute, the second you pull that out, this slams in your face. So that's one trick there. A couple of things as well. This PTO shaft, it's splined, and it's splined in one particular way. You can see that this PTO shaft still has the stickers that will help line it up. Okay, it'll come undone. What I don't like to see people do, it's a nightmare to try to get this back on. When you get this back onto the to the machine and then try to line this up with this on the machine, make sure to take this off. This is the thing that I like to see you take off often. It's got a ball bearing in there. Okay, this one's operating properly. Sometimes these get gummed up, they don't release, and then it's really hard to get this off of the mower. So this is why, even if you're an owner operator and you don't have multiple decks, you're not taking it off very often, I still like to make sure that I'm taking this off often, just to make sure that I can. What's nice about this is this will line up in any direction. There is no right way to put this on, meaning there's not a singular way. All the splines are the same, so when you do depress this and you slide it back in, that is something that you'll have to learn. It does get a lot easier with time. That's probably the biggest choke point of this, is learning how to hold this and find the shaft inside the mower and then get it popped on. One thing though that I want to make sure I cover right now, you have to make sure that this is on there properly. Meaning once it goes in, there's a little groove in the shaft, the PTO shaft on the mower. This will pop back in and you cannot pull it out. So I'm going to line this back up. My hands are greasy. If you don't have those stickers, okay, you actually can look in your shaft. There's going to be one set of splines that basically is smaller. It's almost like one large gap, and then you can line that up with the, once you find that large gap, you can line it up with the splines that look a little different. But this is nice because I've got my stickers there. One suggestion that I did here is if you score this, somehow, if you mark it, my problem is most markers, they're gonna wear off with the constant action underneath the machine. I know I'm talking a lot. You want to know what to do on your next step to get this back on, but hopefully I can explain to you why the steps that I just took taking it off, if we put those back on in reverse order, why it makes it so easy for somebody on their own to do this step. Okay, this chute, like I said, I bought this, I just bought this deck. It's pretty beat up. So a lot of these chutes will go on even easier than this. But the nice thing is once I've got this PTO shaft weighted down on this chute, it'll slide in. I like to just make sure that it slides in underneath. One of the things that I do that seems to really make this step a lot easier is with these deck pins out, these freely rotate. This is what helps the mower float. But what's nice about this is then it's super simple to get this lined up. I like to have this offset. I don't know if that's like a 10-degree angle, 15-degree angle. I just like on my right side to have it offset slightly so that this goes in and I can kind of hold it up there, and then I can lift up my other position for this other deal to slide in there. Really technical term there, deal. And then I like to lift up, and I'm actually pushing with my left foot. So I just like to push it on there. These are floating, so it's just really simple to get the deck on. That's something that you'll get a lot better with as you take it on and off several times. The next thing I do is I grab this PTO, I depress it with one hand, then you just can slide it up. Sometimes you have to feel up where you can find the PTO on the mower itself, okay? And then what I just did, this deck has to go in a little bit further. So I just find the PTO shaft and I lock it in, and I can actually audibly hear it click. So now it's on there. I always like to check to make sure it's on. You can slide this a little bit farther forward. Lift this up. Then I can just lift up this spring, set it into the frame, the mower. That lifts the deck, allows it to float. Push my pins back in. Sometimes if you're pushing this pin and it won't go in freely, you can just tap on the mower. There actually are set screws here that if you don't want to be having to adjust this all the time, you can actually adjust these screws so that it will slide in freely. Then my last step is to get my pins back in, and I'm done. So literally a couple of steps that will really make this a lot easier. Just make sure you pull out your deck pins first. It just allows it to float freely, and it's really simple to operate. From there, one of the things that makes this deck awesome, I'll go over some of this in my next video, will be what makes this feature so incredible that the lifts up and gives us access for sharpening. So hopefully that helped, and I might have to try to re-video it and trim it down a bit, but if you see an ability to subscribe, I would love to. That'll motivate me to make some more videos on how to estimate a yard, some other of the maintenance things on this thing, utilizing walker bags, getting grass into your truck, how to build a really cheap poor man's dump bed. It's not really a dump bed, but I utilize some things that really help get grass clippings out. There's a lot of things I'd love to cover, so as you subscribe, that'll help me know that this is information that you want. Thanks.